I'm sorry?
I just started the broadcast.
Okay, the broadcast.
Nelly, did you send the doc yet?
Yes, I did.
Using the Hangout.
I just had
he said it again. He just
saw my computer. Can somebody send it again? I just restarted my.
Yes.
Somebody can send it again. Got it. Not live. It came up on my computer.
Okay. So, in general on attendance, I think James and Steve were here on time, and then the rest of us were like a little late. If somebody was actually here and we don't know who they are, and they don't participate and they just observe, it's like they lose out on the value, right? Because we don't have any way of actually do value tracking for them. So that's definitely not beneficial for them. Additionally, when you guys are creating the session notes, we don't need all of the links here. For this one, we would only need Andromeda, so we would get rid of all this other stuff. So I got the video indexing going. Does anyone want to help the facilitation? Note taking?
I'll do that.
Steve,
I'll facilitate with you.
Okay. Note takers, timekeepers.
And I'll update the master documents.
I can help you with timekeeping and video indexing.
So there's
also I can generally on video indexing and also maybe doing the notes.
So Steve, when you talk about afterwards, are you talking about session value tracking, master document updater, session task responsibility verifier? Info indexer?
I'll do the master doc. I'll do all the updating for the doc, for the master docs.
The master document updater?
Yeah.
Okay, so what about task responsibility master?
Yeah, all the masters I'll do. I'll update all the masters.
Okay, but the task responsibility master happens during the session, whereas the master document updating happens afterwards.
Okay, I'm opening the master task list now, and I'll do it as we go along.
Okay, but that's not what task responsibility master does. So maybe if you want to, we could go over the task responsibility master position again.
Yeah, go over.
Okay. All right, so I was thinking in general that we could kind of, actually, let's do check-ins real quick. Yeah. Steve, do you want to do the check-ins?
James, would you like to check in?
Yeah, sure.
James?
Yes. I want to check in. So today I've had a great day, actually a great week. I've been attending Google have been doing a few trainings in the capital, so I've been attending them, and it felt good to attend those trainings and learn on the importance of the internet and how it can change. It can change the way I associate with people, and it felt really good. So I think for that reason, I'm a 7 today, an 8 actually.
Okay. Jay, would you like to check in?
Sure. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. I'm doing pretty well. I just got back from vacations. I'm actually back at home now.
Yeah, we hear you.
Which is pretty cool. And I think overall I'm feeling pretty good and excited about everything moving forward. I feel like we're really getting into a new chapter of all of the work, but people aren't totally on the same page. So these kind of meetings are very, very important. So yeah, check. I'm a 7. Check.
We didn't get a number, but okay, we can fill that in. We didn't hear your number. Jorge?
Okay, I was working in the morning with a new program with youngsters who wants to enter the university. So yeah, I was working on that, and I'll be me for now. I'm feeling like 7, and I'm ready to start working.
And Ellie? Nellie? Nellie, are you there?
I guess we lost her.
Okay, I guess we lost Nellie yesterday.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Would you like to check in?
Sure. Well, I'm really happy that I'm back with the team working.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess it's my turn. I'm happy that we're having an Andromeda session for the first time in a while. This is like the first week that really for me has been normal work since before I went to the Philippines, because I didn't work a lot then at my regular session. And then when I came back, Jay left, and Nellie was, I had family over, so we didn't do a lot of work. So I feel like this is the first middle of the week, at least, where we're getting back to normal. And personally, I'm doing great. I'm heading down to Georgia on the 1st to bring more stuff down, and I'm a 7 today. Hello?
I'm here.
Okay. I guess the next thing we would do today is that we'll check in with we desired outcomes.
Cool.
Or
So
go ahead, Jay, you ready?
one thing for desired outcomes for me is kind of like continue some of the discussions and training from yesterday.
Okay.
Today, this is the Pacific session.
Okay.
That would be good.
I still have that file. Maybe we'll do it afterwards. Where I tried to get on to the community emergency, all the emails, and it's asking me for either the recovery phone number, which isn't your phone number, so I couldn't put in your phone number. Of course, the last 2 numbers are 63. Email, and I don't know that since it doesn't know my machine. So before I can do the things, like I was going to set up the Google Groups account, I couldn't because I couldn't get into our email account to do it. So we have to work on that at some point and get me into the accounts.
Well, is it the problem is just the password?
No, I know the password. The problem is it doesn't recognize my machine. And it's like I did it. Yes, I did it yesterday or the day before. I tried to get in when I was on with Jorge. I think it was yesterday, and Jorge got a message that somebody would use your password to try to get into your account and couldn't get in. It doesn't know my machine, so it's asking me for what are the ways to confirm. So maybe I gotta have you on the phone while I do it. You can give me, it'll send you a 4-digit code. You'll give me the 4-digit code, and I'll just put it in.
Okay, well let's go over the Google Accounts plan, because I mean, we should not have to be dealing with this too much, and it's like, especially people like you, Steve, who are like a high level executive, you should just have your own Google account and you never have to deal with it. You know what I mean? Everyone should just have an approved Google account, access to one, and then it should be super simple.
Okay.
So let's go over that as part of our topics.
There's topics are designed out. Yeah, put it as a topic. Okay. Does anybody else? Anybody else have some desired outcomes? Okay.
Well, let's review our desired outcomes from yesterday. So we had for good recruiting systems and tactics for recruitment. You might want to continue that. Relationship, introduce Unbus.
Yeah,
yes, I want to go through Unbus for sure. And so maybe continue improving our recruitment tactics.
And of course, about value tracking.
All right, well,
we have a proposal for a new form.
I know we told them last night, but we never got to it. We were so busy with other stuff.
Yeah,
I did put it on yesterday's. I did put it on yesterday's sheet, but we never got to it.
Yeah.
Probably how to prioritize like payroll, like people who was getting paid weekly or bi-weekly and monthly. So if we can decide dates or add some I don't know, notes, or remember when do we have to do payroll.
So you want to just review payroll processes?
Just like the timing, because since we cannot do payroll without you, like checking the dates, for example, if we are, let's say, when are we receiving the, for example, for bi-weekly, when is the payroll has to be done? Like the next week or 2 weeks after that, after the second week that of work.
Okay, well, we could just like review payroll processes. I'm gonna put that towards the bottom though, because I don't know if it's like a top priority.
Yeah, it's not like a high priority right
now. And then there is Anacleta and FQN value tracking. That are also other topics if we can get to those, but we'll do payroll process first. So I don't know, this looked like a pretty good plan. Just do this in 5 minutes. Google accounts. How long do we want to talk recruitment? You think we're good in like 5 to 10 minutes, or like 10 to 15 minutes?
Yes.
So value tracking, there's a couple things here. I don't know, maybe 15 minutes on value tracking.
Yep.
If we can get to Unbus, that could easily take 20 minutes. Positions other work could take 30 minutes, easily, but we could do in 15. Payroll processes, we could probably do in 5 minutes, so maybe move that up a little bit. Okay, cool. That looks like a good plan. Are there any objections to these topics?
Nope.
Cool. So I think we're good. So let's start with reviewing the responsibility, the task responsibility master position.
Okay.
Okay, so the key things that we are doing here is that we're separating during the meeting from after the meeting. So I think everyone understands that during the meeting. Oh, Steve, could you mute? That during the meeting, you have. I don't need to worry about all this. After the meeting, you have information indexing. Does everybody understand information indexer?
Yeah, I got it.
Steve, do you think you could mute? Because it's echoing and a lot of background noise and stuff. Cool, perfect. So then there's the session task responsibility verifier, the mass and document updater, right? And the session value tracking, right? So that all happens after the session is over. right? So the master document update, I'm going to go into the meeting roles and responsibilities here. And there is plenty of work that needs to be done on these meeting roles and responsibilities, but it's just not a priority right now. Let's see if we can add a table of contents. So this would be not there at all. What is this? This is so ridiculous. Priority topics desired. I mean, it looks like someone actually posted and put like an entire meeting into this. This is insane. So, I mean, another thing I want to go through, because it just can't wait, is this would be like another topic. So maybe we want to actually index this separately. Is you know, document organizing. So maybe you could index that real quick. I mean, basically, like, we are all responsible for organizing our documents, right? The most important documents to organize would be like, you know, our team docs, right? Buddy team docs, super team docs, you know, double team docs. We don't really do double teams, but we need to be. But this is like, you know, all documents need to be organized, and you know, we need to get better ways of organizing them because it's just ridiculous.
We really need to organize our super doc. It's like
so if we go to the
Andromeda,
if we go to the Andromeda main session doc here, so first of all, this one's actually pretty good, right? So we have our notes pretty good, double, triple team docs. I mean, this, we don't even need this. Like this is not needed because that just creates confusion. It's like, keep it simple. Here are our notes, Andromeda, you know, main session docs. And this is why we have the main session doc, is because it's simple, it's clear, it's missing dates though. I mean, that's a problem. So we need to add today's date. So can someone do that?
Okay, I can do that. Continue.
Thank you. So, so then we would go to the super team doc, right? So that's an example of a nice, clean, clear doc. I deleted a totally unnecessary information. So then you come here, the first thing you'll notice is that, you know, this in and of itself is a lot, right? So if you were a new person, you came here, and you saw this, it would be like, what is all this stuff? Like, why is the Atlantic super team doc at the top of the Andromeda super team doc? Like, does that make sense? You know, I would say maybe not, you know? So it's like Andromeda team members, you know, having it all bold and underlined, it's just like confusing, you know? Primary focus as a team, again, it's just like having it bold and underlined is confusing. Also, this is not really our primary focus anymore, but, you know, exit client support as well as, you know, support the Americas network and global core team, right? So anyways, the point is that there shouldn't be a problem for people to take it upon themselves to organize this stuff. I mean, for me, this is just ridiculous. Like even just the first couple lines here, it's like, what is this? The full team budget spreadsheet? I mean, this can go under important documents. It doesn't need to be listed at the top of here above everything else. The Andromeda main session doc should be up here. It already is up here. So why do we need it in two places? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, you just organize and clean this stuff to make it organized. I don't understand why it's all centered like that. It's really, really odd, right?
Okay, I will take on, instead of doing it during the meeting, I'll take on doing it.
I'm not doing it during the meeting. I'm just showing examples of how this would be done, right? So now let's go to where we were before, which is the session meeting roles and responsibilities, right? It's like, we don't need to be in a session to know that this needs to be organized, right? So this would be our list of positions. This will eventually be the table of contents, right? So you would have like the timekeeper, and the timekeeper could be like, you know, a heading. I don't know what this template for email missing info, that has nothing to do with positions. Task responsibility master. So this is the task responsibility master I think that we're going to be going over. And then we have master document updating, which is at the end of sessions. And this would be during sessions. Right? And then what's odd here is that then we have like main Atlantic session Tuesday, July 4th. I mean, I don't know what this is. Desired outcomes, priority topics, note-taking update. I mean, what is this? You know, it's just like it doesn't make any sense to have this here. Sonic team conflict options. I mean, it has nothing to do.
Someone just wrote on that document.
I mean, do you think that it was, do you think these are important notes that we need to keep, or should we just delete it?
I think someone uses it as a template.
Right. If you look at the bottom, it has Lucy, Albina, Zillu, Abdul, Benji, Julie, Thomas. Somebody used this one as a template and that stuff from another meeting.
So I can delete this, it's perfectly fine?
I think it's fine to delete it because
Yes,
I'm
it's
sure we
fine.
have a copy.
Okay, so all this recording information, this is like, you know, reasonable to have here. It's not like the best place for it because we already have another doc that goes through all of the recordings. So you could just delete, you could just link the recording doc to it. You know, so there already is a recording doc recording info doc that can easily be linked here, which would make it more organized, right? And then this is about indexing information indexer. Anyway, so the point here is that like nobody is actually putting effort into organizing our documents, right? It's like, you know, I do the little bit I can, but when people basically are, you know, we're all super busy, we're all doing different things, but it's like we all need to constantly be doing that. You know, and it's not something you can just like hire someone to do. You know what I'm saying? Like the only way to organize the Andromeda super team doc is to be an Andromeda super team member. So we can't just like bring in some outsider and say, oh yeah, please organize our doc.
Okay, I got it. I will do it. I got it. So we get done in the next day.
Cool. So I think we're done with talking about.
So shall we start only with the Andromeda documents, organizing them?
No, we want to organize all the documents. All of them, all the time, should always be organized as best as possible. But you can only organize the docs that you basically know about to the general extent, you know, or at least don't delete information. But anyway, so organizing,
Okay.
I think we're ready to move on. So I'm going to go
I'll
back.
take care of the main doc, and then we can work on it from there as a team.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's I think part of the problem is that it's not like this is Steve's task. Like I'm not saying that Steve should be responsible for organizing the doc. It's like every time anybody, all of us go to the main doc, our goal should not just to be flooding it with information. The goal should always be to organize it and make sure it's organized. Right? It's not Steve's job to just organize it.
I think a lot of the information that's on there that's extraneous is from the very early time of the Andromeda before there were any other teams, and we were putting everything on the doc, and then we never went back and took it out and we straightened it out.
Cool, but again, I'm not even talking about just the Andromeda doc. I'm talking about all of our documents. So, are we all understanding that? Simply, all I'm saying is that we should all be conscientious. We should all be conscientious of keeping our documents organized. That's all I'm saying. So any other questions or anything on document organizing?
I think it's fine.
Is anyone else taking notes?
Yes.
Okay, well, it looks like I'm the only person who took any notes for this entire section, yet I was talking most of the time. So now let's go back to reviewing the task responsibility master position. And hopefully this is a little more organized so that we can get there. All right. So this is a real-time session position. The goal is to track and document all the task responsibilities and projects within the session and who signed up to do them, make sure that it's transparent for everybody. During the session, as we log task and responsibilities, we copy and paste them into the notes section of the headings under project responsibilities and tasks. This is so that at the end of the meeting, during the wrap-up section, which we rarely do, but we need to be doing, we can review them and quickly, transparently, so everyone can see what they signed up for and everyone has access to it for future meetings. So that's pretty much it. So like for document organizing, this would be a responsibility. And that would be an example of a responsibility. From there, we would do like, maybe we could do a task that is, you know, help organize the main super Andromeda team doc. And then this would be Steve, right? That signed up for that. So I make this yellow.
Yep, I got it.
And then another example would be, this would be documentation. So this is technically a documentations project. To make that blue. So do you want me to do it and show you how to do it, or do you want me to go, Steve, since you're the one who's going to be doing this for the test?
I'm just looking for where it would go.
So at the top of the meeting notes here, you have priority projects, priority responsibilities, and priority tasks.
Right. So under that line, I would paste it under that.
Yeah.
As a task.
Yeah,
Okay,
so here should be all the tasks. They should all be yellow. Here should be all the responsibilities be kind of tan, and here should be all the projects should be blue.
Okay, I got it.
And so this category, this would be like session support.
All right.
And we do want to get better at documenting the categories and projects of each topic. You know, so that's something that we need to get in the habit of, is that every single topic, when we're doing the, like we can look at the video indexing here. So we have desired outcomes, review task and responsibilities, and document organizing. So document organizing should come before task and responsibility master. And then under this, the category is documentation, right? Whereas the category for this would be session support. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the reason why we start tracking the categories is so that when people, at the end of the session, so this would be, what position does that? This would be, I think as part of the master document updater, when they're documenting the video indexing into this video indexing spreadsheet, that we have the categories so that they're categorized correctly. So the video indexer should be asking, okay, so we still don't have any project responsibilities or tasks. Do you want me to show you how to do this, Steve, or do you want
I just realized where it goes. I already have a copy. It's going in right now.
Nice. Cool. All right. See, exactly. So you put the priority tasks under priority tasks. And then when we get
the responsibility to the responsibility, I got it now.
And then when we get to wrap up, which we're not very good at getting to, but we'll do that more in the future. We do next steps, and then we review the responsibilities, review the tasks, and then we go into evaluation and checking out, right? So
Okay.
that's like what we do at the end of the meeting to wrap up. Is we review all the responsibilities and tasks that people signed up to do during the meeting. So we won't have to go through 5 pages of notes to try to find who signed up to do what. It should all be there at the very, very top, so that's transparent for everybody. You can say it. And then in the future, what will happen is this is going to go directly into. We're going to copy and paste it directly into the project management systems. It's going to be really cool. We'll get there eventually. So I think we're ready to move on. Any other questions on the task responsibility master position?
I'm checking, but no, I couldn't think of one.
Cool. All right, what's next? Oh wait, another thing would be good to go through would be weekly goals. All right, so now we have Google Accounts Plan. So this might have a couple things. This is like, you know, maybe related to worker coordination, to personnel support. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know, maybe I missed
Yeah, I think that covers.
So basically, we currently have like two main Google accounts. There's the global and the Americas. We already approved and tasked each quintet to make a new Google account. Right. Overall, we do not want to use.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
We approved and tasked each Quentin to make a new Google account. The only people in the Atlantic Quentin are here, and I don't think any of us knew about it. So, who approved and tasked what?
This is from a previous meeting, like from weeks ago. It's probably like a Sonic meeting or whatever. But the point is that you know, each quintet should have its own Google account, and so we're letting you know that now. And then once that happens, it's like overall you cannot use a Google account from another location on the planet, right? So it's like the Americas should never ever use the Asian Google account. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And,
Yeah, makes sense.
and the reason for that is then Google will say, okay, people are signing on to this account from all over the world. Why is that happening? We're going to shut the account down. Right? So as long as you keep it regional, that's perfectly fine. Like every country can have its own account if it wants to, right? So for me, I have my FQN J's Life account, right? And this is an approved, you know, FQN work account, right? Everyone can technically create their own approved FQN work Google account. You know, so people who are high-level executives, they might just want to create their own approved Google account, right? And it can be very simple and decentralized, but every country can create their own. Every even states can. I mean, the point is that there's no. The only reason that we have only created 2 accounts is that it keeps it simple. And that was a decision that people wanted to do early on. But there's nothing that stops anyone from creating a Google account. The only thing that stops me from creating dozens of Google accounts is that I can't. On my phone number, you can only make a maximum of 10, and I just can't make any more Google accounts. I've maxed out the number of Google accounts I can make. People need to make other Google accounts on their phone numbers, right? So anyways, in the end, Google sucks.
Who gives you the best internet experience at a great price? The easiest way to access Netflix, more to stream to any screen, the best in-home Wi-Fi experience, and 100 megabits per second of speed when you upgrade, fact for fast, Xfinity delivered. AT&T just doesn't stack up. Get the best TV experience with X Plus, up to 100 megabits per second download speed. Double what you get with AT&T. $35 each month for 12 months. Don't wait. Today.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Jay?
Well, that was a cute little advertising in the middle of our meeting.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
so random.
interesting to say the least.
Yeah, that was really random. I think it was just some random website that was open. All right. So, anyways, anything else on the Google accounts? Like, okay, what does it mean to create an approved Google account? An approved Google account has a known, password and is stored on our groups, whatever you call it. Like, it's like a list of Google accounts, right? If we have a list of Google accounts, right, then we'll have different levels of Google account access. This is part of our security processes. So like when a brand new person, like a level 3 person comes in and they're brand new, they shouldn't have access to all of our highest level Google accounts. Does that make sense? So then you're gonna have level 4 Google accounts, right? You're gonna have level 5 Google accounts, right? The point is that, like, everybody who's a new worker needs access to a Google account, but they don't necessarily need access to the high level Google accounts, right? So everyone needs access to at least one approved Google account. Okay? And again, it just costs too much money to create business Google accounts. It's just not worth it. And it doesn't matter, like we're not particularly tied to Google. All we need is to be able to back up the data and the documentations and have all of the data and the docs in the folder so that we can back them up and move them around as needed. We don't need.
Plus, I don't think it's necessary to create like corporative accounts when we are using them just to ask for people documentation and remind them about some things. We're not using them to I don't know, to track money or to send money to those accounts, right?
Exactly. And in addition to that, it's like, we don't care if you use your personal account. Like if you want to create docs and you want to do all that with personal accounts, it's perfectly fine. You just need to make sure that the documents end up in the correct folder, the documents in the correct folder so that we can database them and actually back them up. And 2, that you transfer the ownership to an approved account. Right? So if people want to create their own docs, that's fine on their own accounts and use their own accounts. They just have to take those extra 2 steps to make sure the documents are stored and secured properly. So everyone has access to them. Cool. Any other questions on the Google Accounts plan? Yeah. So this empowers every individual, because now Steve doesn't have to rely on getting access to the global or the Americas account. If it's not working, he should have access to 2 or 3 accounts, or even his own that nobody else has access to, that only Steve used. But it's like, if we need to get into Steve's account, we can, because it's an approved account. We have the password, we have all the information to get into it if necessary. Okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. Any other questions on this? Ready to move on?
Jake?
Yeah.
I have a question. Okay. So is it so it's possible for maybe a person like me or Lucy or anybody within our acquaintance to create an email for the acquaintance that we are in?
Yeah, and not only that, it's only possible for someone within the Quintent to create a Quintent Google account. So us here in the Americas can't create a Quintent account for people in Eurafrica, because we're not in Eurafrica. So Google would see that the account was made in the Americas, and it would block access and make it difficult for us to transfer that account to Eurafrica. Does that make sense? It's much, much simpler to utilize a phone number in Eurafrica in Kenya. You can even create a Kenyan account. Yeah.
Steve's FQN at Gmail.
Cool. So the Steve's FQN at Gmail Google account would still not be an approved Google account until the actual documentation and information and passwords are.
I know, but I don't do that. I can put it on the doc right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want it on the doc.
Yeah, put it on the Google accounts. It's the Google account doc. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one that has the other 3 accounts on it. Yeah.
Exactly, that one. Exactly. And if you want to have your account be more of an executive level, then just create a link to that says only managers only, and then only me and you will have access to it. That's fine as well. Okay.
Well, no, I'll use that one for stuff like I'm going to make the Google groups that you want me to make from yesterday. That's for like private communication. That's all.
Sweet. Sounds great. So,
Or
yeah.
I'll give you one of my other emails that, I have 5 other ones that we use for private communication. That's all.
Great.
All right.
Great. Cool. All right. So, and we definitely in general shouldn't encourage everybody to create personal approved accounts. It's easier to have shared accounts and just to keep them based on a jurisdiction or a region.
Just a second. There's an echo that is coming, I don't know, from a certain end.
Yeah, it's probably from Steve. I think he muted. So yeah, I was just saying that in general, we don't want to encourage people to create their own personal accounts, especially at the beginning. It should only be for like high-level executives and people who are really making lots and lots of documents where they might need access to their own, their own account separate from the shared ones. But anyways, we'll make more shared ones as well, and I'm sure Steve will be using both shared and the group ones. So let's move on to the next topic, shall we?
Yes, we can.
All right. So next we have value tracking. Do you want to do this one, Steve? So for value tracking, I don't know if Steve wants to do it, but we have 2.
Yeah, I'll do it. I just had to turn my mic back on.
So there's the new value tracking, and then there's the Jorge.
I know what some of Jorge's concerns are. So.
Well, no, this is Jorge and exit. Jorge Lopez.
Okay.
My concerns for both.
Yeah, you have your concerns. Please voice them.
Well, they're quite simple. We were working on a form yesterday because people was complaining that they didn't understand the form, the simple value tracking form for weekly or monthly. So we created a new one yesterday, and we wanted to submit it voting. So if you can check it out, or we can all check it out and decide what it is, because actually we're checking that people was also putting their deliverables in there. There's some different spreadsheets deliverables, more specific about it. In that case, we only have to answer 3 questions: dates, name, and percentage. So that would be easier. Some people was also asking us that.
Can you mute again? I think it's echoing.
Yep. So some people was asking that if it was possible to report monthly. So I said, well, actually it would be easier if everybody could report like once a month. But if they forget doing it weekly, even when we send them a bot message or a Slack message or even an email message, they didn't do it. We understand that some people are really, really, really busy, but some people, they just don't report it. Even when we check that they haven't worked 100% for that week, only 20 or 30%. So we wanted to come up with a solution with this. One of those solutions was like simplify the reporting form, and another one was like asking everybody, like all the emails that we have, when do they want to report? The thing is that we're going to have a lot of people reporting monthly. We're going to have not much people reporting weekly, right? Because they would like to do it like in a simple way. So we would like to come up with a solution for this, and to decide if do as I say, send a message, ask them if they want to report weekly or monthly. Who's not going to report because they're going to be working 100%. Because some people are saying we don't have time to report. We are money on this.
Let me take it away. Let me clarify.
Go ahead.
Let me clarify, because I was working on it with you. We have people that are sending us emails saying, we don't want to report. We work 100% all the time.
Could we have names though? Because we just keep saying people. I mean, how many people are saying this, and who is it? Like, it's like would be helpful to know.
So I don't know. I would have to go back and look at it. We know that at least 2 or 3 times we've gotten messages saying we work 100% with Corey and other people. At this point, I think they all have a choice of reporting either weekly or monthly. Maybe the new people that are new don't know that. I don't know if they're told you have a choice of reporting weekly or monthly. So maybe we can just send out a reminder that please let us know how you would like to report either weekly or monthly, so that we can have you on the right, so that we can have you in the right place for it, and we don't email you too often. And as far as the new sheet goes, they take a look at it. It's 3 questions. It's very simple, and we've had a lot of people on the email saying it's just a pain in the neck to do the form. Come up with a simplified version, since there is another place, and most people don't actually send what they're doing, and there is another place for the deliverables. There are 2 or 3 other deliverable sheets. We don't see why anybody would actually come to our records to look and see what who did what next to deliverables. If they can just put it on their deliverable sheet and leave it off of their when they send us their time, because that's what they complain of. They have to sit there and type in everything they did in multiple places. And is it necessary for them to give to us? Do we need to know what it is? Are we paying? Since we don't have everybody giving us the deliverables, only some of the people are. So we can't do value for the whole team on deliverables. Should they just be doing deliverables, spreadsheet and not adding it with their hours to us, which would simplify the sheet, the question process of what they're making a whole lot. That's where we are. Okay, anybody?
Okay, so let me just cover a few things, and then I think we'll be pretty good here because it looks good. So the first thing to note is that value tracking is approved and finalized by the exit. So we don't have control to necessarily do or not to do it. And currently where it stands is that, yes, we are doing it. It goes directly into the master ledger. And it's weekly. Okay. So
we're not talking about nobody's talking about not doing value tracking. We're not talking about not doing value tracking in any way, shape, or form. We're saying, do they have to put their deliverables on the sheet with their hours?
I understand what you're saying. So basically, we're talking about separating the value squared from the weekly value tracking. And then we want to cut the deliverables and the input line, I think. Right? So input those deliverables, common questions. Yeah.
Look at the new sheet.
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
9% work reporting period.
Okay.
So, so we would cut 2 lines. We're cutting. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. And the new one has 3 lines. So we'd be cutting 2 lines, and the 2 lines.
We're taking all that reading out and everything else. It's just a real simple form. We really made it. It's supposed to be simple value tracking, simple reporting form. We made it a simple reporting form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only other thing so anyways, I'm fine approving this. So if we want to approve this, then the only other thing for me is that I think that the reporting period is unnecessary as well. And that's just my personal opinion.
There's feedback.
I was just saying that for me, the actual reporting period is also unnecessary. But that's my personal opinion.
No, it's the period of when they work is what we're asking them. What they're reporting. We don't know when they're reporting weekly, what week they're reporting for. We need to know that.
I know, but my philosophy on it is that some of the confusion's coming in that people don't fill that out correctly. They don't understand how to fill it out. They're not really sure what they're doing. And on our side, if we just say when you fill it out, it's applicable to the previous week. If you don't fill it out within the time frame, then you lose out on your weekly value tracking. Done. Move on to the next week.
But that's the point. There's no defined point because there's people which is reporting 3 weeks like behind.
I know, and I think that's insane.
Well, what I'm saying is that's
I think it's absolutely insane to be thinking about weekly value tracking from 3 weeks ago. It's such a waste of time. We get paid like $25 a week to do weekly value tracking.
But it happens that sometimes people report or track 3 weeks behind. I don't know why they do that.
And I think that's insane. I think it's crazy.
Right, and we're saying right, that has to stop. Either make yourself monthly, then you're going to report monthly.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what monthly reporting is.
Or if you don't report by say Thursday of the following week, you're going to lose value for that week. You're not going to get your value.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's that simple.
And by the way, talking about what happened with Jorge, he was very, I don't know, I sensed him very, concerned about us constantly asking him about our doubts of his percentage. So
you guys were talking to Jorge about your doubts and questions to him?
Yes, because
so
we wanted to clarify.
I remember from before I had already, said that Exceli, Jorge, Teddy were off limits, so they're too busy never to address them and interact with them. So you guys should not have been pushing Jorge, but he was very upset, and he had a huge discussion with me on my side. So I mean, as of now, like Jorge is just not to be talked to ever. Okay. From anybody.
Jorge and Exceli and who else?
It's mainly Jorge and Exceli, maybe Vienna as well. Jorge, Exceli, Vienna are just like way too busy to deal with anything. And it's like, I said that before, like do not, address those concerns. And part of me is just like, this is part of what I can't stand about.
I'm working 100%. Assume I'm working 100% all the time. He sent us that email a while ago. So we could always assume that Jorge is working 100%.
Well, I don't like that idea at all. But I don't really care. So the point is that you only need to assume anything on the quarterly value tracking. That's the only thing that goes into the master ledger.
So we will always assume that they are working 100%.
No, I didn't say that at all. Did I say that, or did I something missing? What?
They'll fill out. What he's saying is they get the simple form like everyone else. If they don't send it in, or if there's questions, do not contact them directly. Let Jay know. And if something has to be done, Jay, I'll contact them.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't sound okay to me. So I thought that Jorge was just upset because he just didn't like the value tracking. So to find out now that he was upset because you guys are bugging him is like very, very concerning that you guys never mentioned this. Like if there's a problem with Jorge or Exceli or someone, you should be talking to me immediately about it, because that's a huge issue, In addition to that, it's like, I mean, I feel like, at this point, Jorge is basically saying he's not interested in weekly value tracking at all, or monthly or anything. He's just not interested in it at all, right? Which is bad. So, I mean, basically our stance at this moment in time with value tracking is we might get cut from it, right? And then we wouldn't get any money for it at all. Like right now we're getting $25 a week for weekly value tracking. And we spend probably like $300, $400 a month on it, right? So we're losing maybe like 3-4 times as much money on weekly value tracking than we make, because you guys put so much time into it, and you're, instead of just doing 1 week at a time, boom, 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 done, you're going back through multiple weeks and months and sending emails and getting verification on weekly value tracking. It's literally insane on it, And we might just lose more money on it because they might just like cut it entirely because it's just, they don't like it. And Jorge's basically number 2, right? Or number 3, right? So if he's upset about it, it's, you know, we could lose that agreement and contract. And they might go to someone else, which is perfectly fine if that's what happens. But I just want to make sure you understand that there are the decisions that we individuals and as a group do affect everything, right? Does that make sense? Or is that not?
Yes, of course it does.
So let's go through. So let's just like let's step back a little bit. We need a little more time for this. So we need at least like 10 more minutes. I don't know who's doing value tracking. So we need 10 more minutes. Okay. So there's a couple things. One, we have the proposal for the new weekly form. 2, we have the monthly form changes. Question mark. 3, we have you know, actually, let's go to the weekly form. So
I think you use that form for both weekly and monthly, actually. Your second form.
Because one would be weekly, one would be monthly. How would you know whether it's weekly or monthly?
Well, you just use the same. You use the same example. Just make do one says weekly, one says monthly.
Exactly.
But I mean, we're still asking percentage, and
yes,
we can use the same form with a different name on it.
Yes,
that's all.
Yes, of course. But again, we need to discuss that as a separate issue. So question, week / dates, etc. So 3 is dealing with Jorge Lopez's issues, customization, and other value tracking. So I just want to make sure it's clear that weekly and is less than 1/5 of the value tracking that we do, yet we spend 80–90% of our time on it. You guys following me on this?
Yes.
And I'm not really sure why. So anyway, so I want to go through you know, what happened, etc. So does this sound good as far as like what needs to be done right now? Is there anything else that needs to be addressed?
And value tracking, I think that's it.
All right, so let's go through all of these points here, and then we'll be ready to move on. So starting with this new proposal. So let's just go. So the proposal is, well,
There's an echo feedback.
I'm killing my mic. Hold on.
No.
so I mean, I think there might be a little bit of information that could be useful to have in here, but that basically, as far as the fields go, I think I'll be ready to approve it. So proposal to approve the new value tracking form with the 3 fields instead of 5. Are there any objections to that?
No, I think it's what we need.
Since we are not using their deliverables, a few of them they are putting some deliverables. I don't see a reason to have the deliverables field.
If nobody has an objection, just don't say anything and we can get through it.
Okay, so there's no objections for that. We're not going to start this week. This would be for next week, okay? This also brings up an issue, like it would be easier to change the existing form than to create a new form because of the automated reminders that Isaac set up. I don't know how to change this. Okay, so then the next thing, which is the sub thing, is the date. So we have this form, which I mean, I think that there does need to be at least one line, you know? So yes, maybe it's a little bit long in terms of having like a paragraph on each one, but I think it would be helpful to have at least one line to explain what the percentage means, right? So anyways, I would propose that we could get rid of the dates. I think that's what causes the most confusion. I mean, why are you even contacting Jorge about anything? Like, did he fill it out wrong? Like, what did he do that he did so wrong that you guys needed to contact him? Let's just get that out of the way.
He didn't put the percentage. I think it was that. Let me check.
He said that he sent the link to his Tigra. I got it, Nelly. I got it. he sent a link to his Tigro form saying that it's on his Tigro, which is a tracking form that I guess he's using. Problem is, it only went up to the 9th of August, and there were no percentages on it. Didn't know exactly what he was telling us.
He put the link to his Taiga on the percentage one.
He sent us a link to some kind of form. When do you guys want to get out of the email? And
the email, but no, I'm not talking about the email. I'm talking about before the email. Why did we contact him in the first place?
I sent him the message.
But why did you send him a message?
Hello, Jorge. We were talking, but could you please clarify the week you are reporting on the percentage? Thank you.
So was it the week or the percentage, or was it both?
It was weekly.
No, but what was the problem? Was it the week or the percentage or both?
He didn't put the percentage.
No, I didn't put the date.
And the percentage. He didn't put any date or percentage.
Okay. It only says tracked on Taiga.
Yeah, he put C on Taiga, or that everything was on Taiga. So we checked the spreadsheet for Taiga, and we didn't find any information for him.
He sent us a link to the spreadsheet that I guess that he's using for his personal tracking, and the problem was it only went up to August 9th, and it had zeros all the way across. So we had no idea what he was talking. Okay, so we had no idea what he was. So we didn't ask him what the takeoff form. We just said, "Can you please clarify?" Because there was nothing on the form, and that's what the email was sent. Can you please clarify?
All right, well, let's take a look at what he did here. So this would be line.
Yeah.
What's line is
it's
it?
That one. Lower. Go.
This one, Jorge?
Yeah,
240.
That one. Track on Taiga.
So this is what he wrote?
Yeah.
Well, it says 100% right here.
No, we put 100. I think.
No, we put that.
So you're saying we don't know what he responded?
What did you say, guy?
The question is what he wrote in. Typically, you wouldn't make changes on the raw data. It's just totally unnecessary. Anyways, my point of view is just very sad that it's like it's so hard to get Jorge to do it at all. And the fact that he did it is like amazing, right? And then basically we turned him off of it, and he is over it now, right? It's like even worse than it was before. But overall, our work's going to get a lot harder. I mean, we are like weekly value tracking is nothing. Right, we need to be focusing on actual value tracking, and Taiga is the direction we're going to be going. So, I mean, our work is going to get a lot harder. So it still says 100% here. I'm not seeing where you guys are getting this. Like, what day did you change it? You're saying that you got it exactly the same day and you changed it exactly the same day.
I said that he only placed reporter on Taiga. Yep. But we didn't have any date. The thing is that if you report, let's say on the 18th, but you have like 2 or 3 weeks in a blank, like you haven't reported, is this report from the week of the 18th or any week before that? So I remember that you said that we should not assume
so much confusion. That
dates
creates
that
so much
people are sending
confusion.
reports. So that's why we wanted to have like accurate information and not assume anything.
But we don't care about accurate information. None of this is accurate. It's far, far from accurate, right? They're paying us $25 a week. It's not accurate. We don't need accuracy. So when you start talking about 3 weeks ago and this week and that week, I mean, it's so confusing. I don't even know how to respond. It's just crazy. According to everything I'm seeing here, it says 100%. So unless you guys change it the second that he did the response, like, I don't understand. Like, the question is, why did you contact Jorge? And you keep saying because he didn't put a percentage in there, yet everything I see is that he got 100%.
I said it was only because of the date. We didn't know where to put his report.
Okay, so let's figure this out. Like, do you agree with Jorge, Nelly? Jorge just said that it was 100%, that it was only that the date was the problem.
Yes, I remember that.
Why doesn't somebody pull up his response on there?
I'm doing it. I'm looking at it right now.
And also I make a comment over there. I wrote week because there was no week on that.
Okay, so I just want to make sure it's really clear that I went through all of this in excruciating detail with Nelly, like right before I left on vacation. So it's like he filled this out on August 22nd. In what way makes you have no idea what date it is? So August 22nd, why is there no rational context of what week that would be?
He has not reported anything on August. That's why I don't put it all for the month.
So wouldn't that make it obvious what week that would be?
I'm not assuming anything, so that's why we asked him.
Yeah, you told us not to assume anything.
No, I actually told you. I actually told you the exact opposite. I told you always that if someone does it, that it's the week prior. That it's always the week prior. Like, that is the assumption always for value tracking. I said that when there's confusion and it doesn't make any sense, you don't know what's going on, that's when you don't want to have an assumption. But typically, every question that's ever come up is the confusion is based on what week is it, because you guys don't understand and then they don't understand. And it's just a huge mess, all caused based on this idea that we want to backtrack endless weeks of value tracking.
So that will be the report for August the 12th to August the 18th. And the first 2 weeks would be blanks, like 0%.
Of course. So again, going into this other thing, like, my proposal would be, which is the same as ever, to remove the dates and weeks.
Yes.
Why can't we just go to monthly for everybody, Jay?
Well, for now, they've chosen weekly, so we can propose to do monthly. We could do that. But for me, I think that it's bullshit. Like, weekly and monthly tracking is bullshit. They need daily and hourly tracking to have any actual value. Like, you know, I mean, what is the value of someone pulling out of their ass a month later? Like, oh, it probably worked this time. It's just, like, ridiculous. So it's like, you know, none of this applies to FQN. We don't even do weekly and monthly value tracking. We do real time and daily value, real time, hourly, and daily value tracking. And if you don't track your hours in real time, and you're just going to lose out on value, right? So I will be taking to EXA a proposal of a couple different things, but let's get into that. So customization and then proposal to EXA executive team, right? But on our side, I'm proposing that we remove the specific dates and weeks. And then there's never, ever a question which week it is. If they do, like, there's a deadline. The deadline is Thursday midnight.
We started to do it, or we wanted to do it with knowing which week they were reporting, because suddenly they started to report at different weeks, weeks in the past. So that's
And we just
why
say no. We just say no. Like, why does it matter though?
Like, why does it matter?
Okay.
Who cares what they report? It doesn't matter what they report.
They're going to be telling. They're going to be told that the deadline reporting for the previous week is Thursday midnight of the following week. If you don't report by then, your value for the previous week is going to be 0.
Okay.
Okay. That's what they say. So
Yeah,
so we get a report on Friday, right? We can just say we don't want to put it in because they missed their deadline, and we're
I think
not going back.
that's better for everyone.
I think it'll make life a lot easier if we can do that. Yes.
That's how it was originally designed, and then you guys overread me, and I voted no on changing all that kind of stuff way back in the day. I thought it was silly that I was going to cause lots of complications and problems to have the date in there.
That's going to be easier for them and for us.
But it does require you guys to actually look at the timestamp and to do that in relationship to the previous week. And if they fill it out multiple times, you typically would take the last one they filled out, one that makes the most sense. If there's just total confusion and it's obvious that they're trying to report something, that's the only time you would contact them.
Yes.
All right, so just to summarize, if someone reports like 2 or 3 times in a row, that will be a reason to contact the
no, not
person,
at all.
right?
Not at all. No reason to
So just the last report.
All right,
If they do not report for the previous week by the following Thursday midnight, their value for that week is 0. And if they come 3 weeks later and say, well, here's my report from 3 weeks ago, tell them we don't need it, which it's way too late, and it doesn't matter anymore. The value is 0 for that week. That's it. That's it.
Okay, well.
So anyways, that's the proposal. Let's go through and see if there's agreement on it, because before there was not agreement on it and I was overruled and everything. I remember it very, very clearly. You guys remember?
Mm-hmm.
So before my time, while I was away.
That was before Steve's time. But obviously I would vote yes on it. Steve, Nelly, James.
I vote yes.
Yeah, yes, definitely. What we need.
So Jorge votes yes. James, you want to vote? You're voting yes. Is James here? You just text only or what?
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. So, anyways, I'm not sure exactly why it took us, 4 or 5 months and basically crisis with Jorge, who never should have been contacted, especially when he filled out the form correctly, in my eyes. I mean, he said 100%. It was obvious that it was the week prior. There's just, I thought I made it really, really clear when me and Nelly talked that you want to avoid bothering all the workers as much as possible unless there's total confusion on what's going on. You have no idea what's going on, and you ask for help and no one could figure it out. It's like then you contact them and try to figure it out. So
I don't know how it happened, but there wasn't a percentage there.
That's just hitting a nerve in my head, extremely bad, Nelly. Be very careful what you say right now, because this is out of control, right? Over and over and over again. And we reviewed the documentation, and we talked to Jorge. Everybody disagrees with you. Is there anybody who agrees with Nelly? There's no one who agrees with you, Nelly. You have no documentation that says that he didn't put a percentage. That is a false statement as far as everyone else is concerned, except for you.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember that. I mean, maybe I got mistaken. Yeah, probably.
Well, it's perfectly fine to be mistaken, right? But what's not fine is to say over and over and over again that there wasn't a percentage and that you did it because there wasn't a percentage, right?
Yes.
That's a problem. And it's not going to fly over well with me, and it shouldn't fly over with other people. So if you want to keep pushing that you did it because there was no percentage, that's
No,
going
I
to end
don't.
very, very badly for you. So it's better just to say we made a mistake. All of us make mistakes all the time. You thought there was
Yeah.
no percentage. There was a
We just
percentage.
made a
It was a
mistake,
huge
and-
mistake. It was a mistake beyond your own mistake. It's a mistake on
Yeah.
our entire organization because you guys went and bothered Jorge, who is like literally the last person you should ever bother, right? He's basically like the busiest person and the most anti everything that we do and everything we stand for as the African Community Network. And he's the most powerful person who's totally anti everything we do and everything we stand for. So he has the most say in basically like cutting our funding, right? So Exceli is a higher level than Jorge, but he supports everything that we do, right? And then Mrs. Vienna, right? She's kind of like number 3, but she's like in the middle.
Okay.
And then there's Tere, who's number 4, and then Alpin's number 5, and then I'm probably number 6, number 7. You know, so I'm down on the list like 6, 7, 8, right? But I don't have any decision-making power, but they pay us to do all the work, right? So, anyways, I think that we are ready to move on to the next proposal. So this form, it would just be 2 fields, right? So now we were basically all agreeing to just have 2 fields. So it'll be name and percentage. Is that correct with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we have 1 week to get this all set up. So there's no hurry on it.
Great.
So we shouldn't do anything for tomorrow. We should just deal with it next week. So what's next? The next thing is monthly. Oh, and for this one, we do need to add to the form the deadline for getting your weekly value tracking. So how about monthly?
I mean, with the exception of changing the form, I think monthly's fine. You know? Nelly, Jorge, you have any problems with monthly?
No, we can have
There
like
should be a deadline for what they report.
if they want to be track if they want to track monthly or weekly.
That's not the question. The question is the monthly form. Are we changing the monthly value tracking form?
I think let's use the new form and put monthly on it.
So the proposal that Steve just said is to use the new 2-field form for the monthly value tracking.
Any dissent on that? Does anybody disagree with that? Do you think the form we have now is better? Should we change to the new form? Any discussion?
I think we should change it. I mean, for monthly it's even easier because they only have to report what they were for the month before. They can say 20, 30, 40, 100%. And we cannot discuss about it. So only percentage and the month they report, and that's it. Timestamp doesn't matter because it only happens after the month is over.
Not even the month they report. They can only report for the previous month. We're not taking reports from January or from June in September. So if we get a report, it's going to be for the month before. You know, we're not going to take 2 monthly reports and go back a month. There has to be a deadline when they report for the month too. I mean, you agree, Jay?
Of course. That's what I've been saying all along, that it's just ridiculous to go back to previous weeks. Like, we're not getting paid to do that. You know, so to go through every single week for months, every single week and review it and continue to review it is just a waste of time and money. We're just losing money and time. So I would propose, I think that Steve's proposal is fine. I mean, I would just vote yes on it.
For the monthly value tracking,
Yeah, the monthly we only have first percentage and the name. That will be it.
yeah. Okay, sure.
So Nelly, you're sure?
Is there any dissent?
I think there are no objections. James is the only one who didn't vote, so that's done. I don't know if you want to vote, James. So let's see what's next. All right, so customization. So Nelly, you keep coming back to this thing about like, oh, well, we should just let them do monthly versus weekly. That's not our decision to make. That is just the client decides that. The client has told us they want weekly value tracking. Period. So we do weekly value tracking because that's the client told us to do. If we go back to the client and we tell them, you know, we basically are proposing not to do weekly value tracking, we should have a reason for that. So what would your reason be?
I've got a question. If someone just says, I don't want to report weekly, I want to report monthly, what should we
Exactly.
do with it?
Well, first of all, for Jorge, you guys are never going to contact Jorge ever again, specifically on Slack or by email or by any reason whatsoever that has anything to do with weekly or monthly value tracking or really anything. Right? So as far as Jorge is concerned, he has temporarily been excluded from weekly and monthly value tracking. So he's only doing quarterly value tracking. We're basically going to assume he's 100%. Okay? From there,
I'm sorry, there's echo in background, so I didn't quite get the last part.
For Jorge Lopez, right, we would only be doing quarterly value tracking, and no one is to contact Jorge ever for anything that has to do with value tracking.
Okay.
And it's extremely sad, and it's not okay. Right? So in the context of the proposal to EXA, we're proposing to exempt Jorge from value tracking.
No one is exempted from value tracking, like weekly value tracking?
Of course not.
Except Jorge, Axel, and Viena, perhaps?
No, just Jorge.
Okay.
And that's temporary. But we can propose to EXA whether or not he can continue to be exempted. If we propose to the executive team of EXA, right, and they say, no, absolutely not, we're not going to, you know, exempt Jorge from weekly value tracking, he has to do it like everyone else does, then we will continue to bug him with his weekly value tracking. But nobody has to do the weekly value tracking form. Right? Most people don't.
Yes.
Okay, so but there's a difference between sending someone a Slack message, reminding them to fill it out, and sending them an email reminder, which is our process every week.
But they still don't fill the form.
And they still don't fill out the form. Yes, but we still bug them, right? So you are now never going to be bugging Jorge ever again. Everybody else you continue to bug.
Okay, except Jorge. Okay.
Except for Jorge, because Jorge got very upset, and like we just don't want to touch that issue until it goes to the executive team. So if the executive team can address it next Wednesday, we will. If it takes another week, I mean, it's not a high priority. You know, Jorge's exemption from weekly and monthly tracking is like one of the lowest possible priorities I can think of. And there's like 30 priorities.
He's very upset.
He is very upset, and it's because we made a huge mistake, and it's very sad. But I'm sure it'll be fine, you know. And I wish you guys would have immediately told me about it. It's just I don't understand why you guys didn't tell me about it. So I had multiple conversations with Jorge, having no idea what happened, and basically probably sounding like an idiot. I mean, basically, like, you know, I think I did a reasonable job of it, but it would have been a lot easier to have known what happened. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, so getting someone really upset and then me having to deal with it, having no idea what happened, is just like a terrible, terrible idea. So anyways, now that I know what happened, I'm going to contact him again and explain it in the perspective, like, and just tell him I had no idea what had happened. I just found out today, you know, so now it makes sense, like all the things he was saying. Like before, I just didn't know what was going on. And I was having a lengthy discussion with him about all this stuff with value tracking and like all the problems, and he didn't like it, and he wants to change this and that, with having no idea what he was even referring to and all the problems that happened. And I don't know how to address that, but I mean, you guys just need to communicate. Just like if there's issues that come up, let us know. I don't know why you wouldn't, unless you have no time and like there's some other problem that comes up. But anyways, so The other issue is the customization. So whether or not someone can do weekly versus monthly, right now monthly is for everybody who is not all core team members do weekly. That's the current arrangement, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that you want to allow people to change, why would we do that?
I was thinking about that because, for example, Sky sent us a message that she would like to do only monthly tracking. That's why. Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. So
so we know that there are some people that would like to do only monthly instead of weekly.
Sure, and we also know that 100% of everybody would rather not do it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
it's like,
I know.
of course, they would rather do monthly rather than weekly. There's no question about that, right? So weekly value tracking, it's required to send a message, remind them, and try to get them to do it. But if they don't do it, they lose that value, and we move on, right? So for weekly value tracking, it's optional, but the executive team of EXA, we do weekly value tracking. So everybody
I think that we have to add on the bottom of that new sheet that if you don't, I think that we have to add on the bottom of that new sheet that if you don't report by Thursday of the following week, your value for that week will be 0. It has to be on the sheet.
Yeah.
So they know that if they don't report it, it'll be 0.
Yeah, that's on here on the list. Exactly.
Okay.
And again, it still doesn't even really matter like that much because they can just change it monthly or they can change it quarterly. You guys see like how insignificant weekly value tracking is? It's really not a big thing. It's like,
personally, I think everything but quarterly is useless, but you know.
Yes, everything but quarterly is useless, but just doing quarterly value tracking and doing weekly value tracking is that it actually means something. So your quarterly value tracked information has backing and data that actually is stored in the master ledger that gives value.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, it's just a number they pulled out of their ass for how much they want to get paid.
Yeah, it's true.
So the only purpose of weekly and monthly value tracking is simply to have data that supports the valuation of the quarterly block of the master ledger.
Let me say that there's 20 minutes left of this meeting and we've taken way over time on this, even though I'm not the timekeeper. I think we need to move on.
Okay, well, can we do like this to get it done? I mean, we're so close to being done with it, and it's just
okay. Let's get it done. Let's get it done.
And it's also really important because it's one of the main interactions we have with the client. And if it's a problem, then this is a huge problem.
Okay. Let's get it
and really,
done.
what we want to get is into number 7, which is the other value tracking. So anyways, like unless you guys have a valid reason to propose to the EXA executive team to not have people do weekly value tracking, then I wouldn't suggest proposing that.
Let's leave well enough alone.
Do we all agree that there's not a valid reason, or is there a valid reason? Because I have no problem proposing it to the EXA executive team. It just, there should be a proposal though.
I think there's no valid reason. I said yesterday that in that case we would say that everybody's doing 100% unless you report something different, but we will make the company lose money because tokens will be higher than they were expecting.
No, what we said is if they don't report, they get 0 value. But by Thursday of the following week, they get 0 value.
Yeah, and Jorge, just so you know that Jorge, Mr. Lopez, right, is already proposing that. So that's already going to go to the proposal for at least him, right? So Jorge is already proposing that it would be automatic 100% every week. That's already going to happen. So we're already going to hear what the executive team says about that. I have a pretty good idea of what we're going to get back. They're going to say, no, that's bullshit. You know, why would we want everybody to get automatic 100%? So I don't think that we would want to propose that. but we certainly could if we think that there's a reason to do that.
I don't think it would be a good idea.
Yeah, but Jorge's already proposing it.
That's right.
For at least him, it's already going to be proposed. But what I do think is applicable is customization. I think that every individual should be allowed to customize how they want to do their own value tracking.
Weekly or monthly?
No, weekly.
Okay.
Right? The team has approved is weekly. Right? So it's either weekly or it's not at all. There's no option to not do weekly. It's the only option someone could do is just ignore it. If they ignore the Slack message and they ignore the email and they don't fill out the weekly, they can fill out the monthly instead. But we don't exempt them from the weekly. They still are going to be tracked, and it's still going to say 0 in their weekly value. Does that make sense?
I mean, we stop sending weekly reminders?
No.
Or do we remind them on
always
Wednesday so
send
they have
weekly
it until
reminders.
Thursday night?
If somebody's on the core team, they're required to do weekly value tracking, and they get the reminders because that's what the executive team said. That's what our client wants, right? Our client can decide to change that, but we can't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if they want to make it optional between weekly and monthly, then they can do that, and then we will do that. And if we want to propose that, we can. I don't think it's a good idea. So I wouldn't propose it. So unless somebody else here wants me to propose that on your behalf, I think we're all in agreement that it makes the most sense to do weekly value tracking. And my proposal would be to do daily and real-time value tracking. That would be my proposal.
They would have to be willing to pay a little more for daily value tracking. Otherwise, that would be a little more work.
And that would be great for us.
In a way, not for us, because I know Jorge tends to check the emails every day to see if anybody sent to it. It wouldn't really be that much work for us.
It wouldn't be that much more work. They would need to pay us more money for it, but it wouldn't be that much more work. And actually, it would be much more accurate. Like for me, the only way to do value tracking, the only way to do accurate value tracking is real time, hourly and daily value tracking. There's no other way to do value tracking. And that's how FQN does our value tracking, and that's how we will always do our value tracking. Because there's no other way to do it that makes sense, right? So the only reason we're doing weekly value tracking for EXA is because they don't want to deal with tracking their hours or tracking their work, Anyway, so the customization allows a lot of different things. So what that means is maybe they don't fill out the weekly form, right? But they can still get in the weekly tracking log through, a spreadsheet or through Taiga, right? So Taiga does not, unfortunately, Taiga does not do hours, right? But it does do points, and there's some other things we might be able to get out of it. We haven't yet. But that's one thing that it's not really a proposal because it already exists. But we can reminder. So reminder, individuals can customize their reporting. So from here, we can also propose using Taiga for value squared. But it doesn't really help, unfortunately for now,
but
it doesn't.
In Taiga, the spreadsheet that we have, we don't have like the deliverables. So.
Well, can you link what you have? I'll show you what I might have what I got from before.
For Taiga?
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually, we found Taiga because of Jorge's report. It didn't say anything about hours or nothing was tracked over the spreadsheet was practically blank, only with a few colors on some names and days, but no hours and no information.
Yeah.
I can show you the spreadsheet I found yesterday. Yeah, this is the one. Taiga IO project.
Okay, here I found the Taiga task report list that I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this.
I found the wave 0, but it's completely blank. As I say, only colors and no data in there. So I believe this was a template or something.
Oh, this is different. The one that Jay.
Yeah, but we didn't have it on the Slack. I found it because of the message. Because of Jorge's message. It is because Andrew Dunscombe shared it on Slack. But it was never shown to us or shared with us.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine though. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on our notes here. So I mean, either way, you guys should not have been getting anything from Jorge, but whatever, it's fine. So we just have to move on from that. But what we do have here is this is from Harland. Okay, Jorge doesn't know anything about Taiga as far as like all the data that comes out of it and how we could use it for value tracking. All he knows is he just wants all the value tracking to happen, and so he doesn't have to worry about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this one is different to the one we found.
So there's still a lot of problems here, but it does give us some basic information on what they did. From there, it gives who did the work, and then it says whether it was closed or not. So basically, what it means is closed is it means that it was deleted. The problem with closed versus not closed is that it doesn't actually say whether it was completed. So deleting something is different than actually completing something, right? And that's all the information it gives us. So I can basically sort here, for example, and we can look up Jorge right here. So this is all of Jorge's stuff. Some of this stuff is in progress, some of it's closed, right? But basically what you end up here with is, Bancorp Reserve Principles Integration. I mean, we don't have a clue what that is, right? Final revision edits before event, right? So I don't know what we're going to do with this type of information, but this is basically what Jorge wants us to deal with. So a couple things come in here. One is that the fact that Jorge has, from line 149 to line 176, I mean, we know that this is all logged information and work, right? So just by having additional lines of iterations of work, something's been done, right? So that can be value in and of itself, just the fact that there's information in there, but it doesn't really have any, there's nothing behind it,
But isn't that what basically value-based currencies are? It doesn't really have any physical thing behind it. It has what the person's value is or the work they're doing's value is.
Well, but the goal would be make an intro to the warp. Right? So what is the making of the intro to the warp? Build gravity network, gravity spacing of the warp. I mean, I don't know what that is, but if we knew what it was, we could actually document its value. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, on our value,
there's no way we know what the value. There's no way that we're gonna know what the value of it is.
No, because
they know what the value.
But they know what the value is.
They are not linking it to something that.
Yeah, exactly.
At least in the Volta Square, I was checking the links, I was checking the deliverables. I was adding the description where it was a document, a Google document, or an internet document they were working on. And at the end, no one else was adding anything on the Volta Square spreadsheet.
Yeah, so the point is that this can give us a list of not necessarily deliverables, but work that was done by people. And so this can allow us to actually go back and start talking to Jorge about all the things that he's done, and then over time get valuations for them. So this can easily be put into the value squared process but we still think that the information that's missing is the actual value in US dollars and the deliverable and the link, right? So if we have a link, we could actually look at it and we would know what was being done, which is why we need deliverables, so that there's actually links or output, some type of output. So anyways, I'm just letting you guys know this is what we're dealing with. And we need to figure out how we're going to deal with this, right? So here we have, 200 items of information within their taiga. So if we were using Asana, we would end up with all of this data on Asana that we could export and try to figure out how to put into the master ledger. So the question is how to get all of this into the master ledger. And right now, I don't know how to do it, but we have to figure that out.
I gotta think. Gotta think about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
I didn't even know about any of this. I'm just learning about this for the first time. You got to give my head a chance to wrap around it. Now, maybe I'll figure out something.
so what is this? I think is a template. Let's see what this is. What is this?
Oh, that's the one I was checking because it's the only document we found about Taiga on the Slack. Because there was nowhere else we could look for anything with Taiga. So
Okay,
that's the one we were looking yesterday.
That's
the one that Jorge linked yesterday. And we said there's no information on it. So what do we do with it? That's why we were mixed up.
Yeah, cool.
But the one that you showed.
Cool. All right. So, anyways, moving on. So, the easiest way to think about it is that we want to focus on value squared. And we already know the information. We already have the form. Do you guys have the value squared form? And we should link, I want to link the value squared form to the simple reporting form, right? So link, so this is another task, link the value squared form to the weekly and monthly value tracking form. So it's at the top, right? We can just put it at the top, right? If you have, direct contributions that you want to put into our a value that you want to put that don't have to do with time, right? Because this is only about time, percentage time, right? And it should say percentage time.
Is value squared list of deliverables the one you were talking about?
What?
See the value squared list of deliverables the one you were talking about to link here?
No, the actual form. There's the value squared form. I'll find it. It's here.
Okay.
Or hopefully I'll find it. We shall see. I don't know if they're going to give it to us. No. So let me just go to value tracking briefly and pull it up. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Computer's going slowly. So we're looking for the value squared form, which is right here. Fill out this form. The form, value squared form.
You want to link that to the bottom of the weekly simple reporting form?
To the top of it. So basically here, it's basically talking about their name or the contributor's name. Anyone can fill this out for anybody else. The title or vocabulary terminology of your contribution, like what did you do? The description and deliverable of the contribution, explaining what it means. The link to the deliverable, and the estimated value. And then there's a place here you can have multiple people working on the same deliverable, the date, time frame of the contribution. Any other thoughts or questions? So that's what we have for the value squared right now. So we can utilize the Taiga information to help us start the process of getting more value squared information in there. But again, we would have to follow up with each individual about what the actual value is.
Steve, could you please mute your mic? Thank you.
How often shall we send that one for value squared? Like every week, every 2 weeks? I don't know.
Well, it's a totally different process. Right now, what we're saying is that everybody should be having at least one value squared contribution per quarter.
Per quarter, okay.
And so this would be part of quarterly value value tracking verification, is that we'd actually be coming in, we'd be verifying their time, but we'd also be coming in through and verifying their quarterly contribution for their value squared contributions.
Yeah, because I think last quarter we didn't send it.
Sure, we sent a reminder, we're just not actually following up on it.
Okay, okay.
Well, it's not really okay because we're not doing it. It's not happening. We need to be prioritizing the value squared. And this is what Jorge wants. Jorge wants value squared. What he doesn't want is he doesn't like the time. So Jorge's model of value is that basically the time that people put in shouldn't count. It's all about what they accomplish. So for example, within the African Community Network, if we did our value based on deliverables and contributions, there'd be very little valuable from everybody because most people aren't actually doing deliverables or actually creating output even, right? So in that context, there'd be very little value getting distributed. I actually think that it's ridiculous. I'm not a fan of value squared, but we'll do it. I think value squared is a great thing on top of what I call base neutral value distribution, right? So like everyone gets a base value distribution regardless of their competence or their ability to get things done and have deliverables and output. And then it's all totally neutral, that is not opinionated. Like the work that Nelly does is the work that Nelly does, period, right? There's no place for me to have an opinion to judge your work and say that it's more valuable than someone else's work, because that just creates inequality, right? So the definition of value squared is saying that one person's work is more important than another person's, right? And so
that's nice. Yeah.
I don't like it myself. I like neutral, unbiased, totally.
No, I mean the neutral is nice.
Yeah, the neutral is nice, right? Saying that everybody's work is equal, right? So
yes, exactly.
But in the context that there's a lot of people who just don't agree with that. So I have no problem with value squared. We just put it on top of our neutral, unbiased value distribution within the FCON Community Network. So we do have value squared within the FCON Community Network. It's just not our priority. It kind of takes second place. Whereas with EXA and specifically Gravity, do you guys know about Gravity in Agoric?
No, I don't think we have worked with that.
Okay, so EXA is our client, right? But EXA has two primary programs. One is called Gravity. Gravity is kind of like its own organization, and that's what Jorge Lopez does, right?
Oh,
so Jorge's
no, we haven't worked with that one.
Well, we work with it every day, all the time. Gravity is part of EXA. It's one of the branches of EXA, okay? The other is Space. So Space is like the platform that's being created. So when we talk about Jorge and Gravity, it's going to be, at this point in time, 100% value squared. They're not even interested in time at all. They're only interested in value squared. So then only EXA and Space currently are doing the weekly value tracking, whereas Gravity is not. So when we work with Jorge, he's only interested in value squared. And the only reason he even does the weekly value tracking is because we force him to do it, and he hates it. And he already hated it, and we already knew he hated it before. So it's just very unfortunate that we bugged him about it. But I mean, I think it's a good thing in many ways because it will push us to prioritize the value squared. But it's just not happening. So I mean, what can we do to get value squared happening more besides just recruitment, which I think might be our next topic, but I think we need to wrap up. But the point is that if we don't,
we are past the time of we're at 3 minutes of the next hour. So
I think we can keep working on this.
okay, but the bottom line is simply this. What can we do to make value squared get prioritized? And remember, value squared, again, is just one of 10 different value tracking priorities. And we also need it to, we're not going to talk about it now, but we also need to somehow prioritize all the previous blocks from the old value tracking that we still haven't done, and get the finance report done. So I don't know exactly how to get these things prioritized and get them done. Do you guys have an idea besides just recruiting other people?
I don't have anything right on my dish. I guess I can start working on it again. I have nothing major on since I can't do communications right now, I don't have people on my teams to do it with. I can work on that. Put some hours into it.
I think we can work on that, and we need to work on that. Perhaps we can work on a plan.
Well, we can take it up tomorrow during the regular Andromeda session. We can start figuring out, make up a plan for how we're going to do it and start getting it done.
Yeah.
During the main session.
Okay, but I do want to mention that in my side, we have a plan already. Right? It's simply like.
That's why I said we don't have to do it now.
Well, I know, but you guys are saying that you're implying that we don't have a plan.
Well, Nelly said we have to make a plan, but we do have a plan. And
okay, so we do have a plan. It's just a matter of executing it and prioritizing.
We can just set dates and what kind of formula do we want to use, and whether if you're using different spreadsheets or something about value square, because I remember that for value square we only have value square list of deliverables, but if we don't know how to use Taiga, I think that would be like a major problem.
We know how to use Taiga. We know that from Taiga we can get a list of where to go. Did I lose it somehow? It's here. I know it's here. Where'd our Taiga stuff go? We know from Taiga that we can get a list of work that people have been working on. It's not necessarily deliverable, but it's certainly a list of work. So, I mean, what we need to do that hasn't been in the plan before is before we had a list of deliverables, right? With information from, like links and value, etc. And it was just like a list for everyone, right? From here, we have the list of FQN deliverables, right? And this is our work for EXA, right? And we need to continually update that and make that really, really good, because this is our value, right? This is our tokens. This is how we get paid the amount of money that we're actually working for. Because remember, we're getting paid half, if not like a quarter, if not even a fifth of the actual work that we're doing, right? Right.
But remember, the more we do and the more deliverables we get done, the easier it is for Jay to say, look, you have to give us a little more money. If we're not getting the deliverables done, you can't ask for any more.
I'm also talking about the fact that the way that we get more money from the token sale and actually the equity of EXA is through our list of deliverables and our value squared and putting it into the master ledger. Then we get the tokens, right? You guys need to understand that. It's really important.
Okay.
So we can always propose to get more money up front. That's all. We can always do that. In any way affect the fact that they're double, if not triple, if not quadruple the amount of value that we're giving to EXA is in the form of deliverables and tokens that we will be issued as equity within the entire company network. So if we don't track our deliverables, we're losing all that value. You guys follow me here or not?
Yes.
Okay, so
I got you perfectly.
So there's two things here that are key. One is weekly FQN value tracking. Let's just say weekly EXA value tracking form from FQN. So this is a this is a responsibility that somebody needs to take on. I think we should give it to somebody other than people doing weekly value tracking. And then the
I
other
don't usually do
one,
value tracking, so I guess I can do it.
yeah.
I've just been doing value tracking this week, but I don't usually do value tracking. Nelly and Howard do.
Yeah.
But anyway, is there any way that we can know how to do it as well? Because
You know how to do
we
it. You guys
can-
are the ones doing it.
sorry.
You guys are the ones doing it. You know how to do it.
Okay.
This is where you put in the percentage FQN work that happens every week into the weekly value tracking.
Okay.
So, but you guys shouldn't be the ones doing that. Right now, you guys are doing it, but it would make more sense for somebody else to do that, to like, because they're two separate responsibilities, and it shouldn't be confused with the weekly value tracking. So we need to do the
Oh, but that's on the same spreadsheet. It's not a problem.
Well, but it is a problem because it's not being done correctly, and it needs to be focused on as an independent thing, totally separate from weekly value tracking.
What are we talking exactly? What are we talking about? You lost me here.
We're talking about the weekly exit value tracking from the FQN. So every week, the FQN reports our weekly hours.
Steve, can you please mute your mic?
Well, does that make sense to? He was asking a question. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I can't ask a question over here if I don't have my mic on.
Okay, as long as you understand. So anyways, the point of this is that we should just all understand what we're required to do to report our value to FQN. But then now that we have this taiga, right, we have this huge taiga, there's like over 200 plus, work tasks / blah, blah, blah. I mean, we don't know what they are, right? But for example, Jorge, we can start to create a,
that's what I was going to say I want to do. I want to start making a separate spreadsheet with separate all the different names, put all the Harlans together, put all Harlans work together, put all Jorge's work together, because Jorge, they're not all together. I have Harlan, then Jorge, then Harlan. So do we need a sheet that has them separated like we did with our taxes where we separated everything?
Yeah.
Is that what we need to do with this?
Yes, exactly. So what's going to be happening is that every individual who has substantial amounts of deliverables needs their own doc and spreadsheet. So on the doc, you're recording and documenting the information about their deliverables. On the spreadsheet is where you're actually listing them. And this will be part of value squared.
Is that a responsibility or a task?
It's a responsibility, right? So this would be part of value squared. This is all part of value squared. So the responsibility is value squared. So the task would be to create and copy and paste deliverables, individual or team workers who have lots of work or deliverables.
Copy the deliverables. Okay.
So if we go back to
just put my name down next to it. That's all.
Cool. So we go back to the value tracking and we go to the list of deliverables, or this would be the list of the value squared list. Oh, it's not working. Let me refresh. So you go to value squared list and we click on it. This will have the list of all of the deliverables that everybody's inputted if it was filled out properly, right? It says there's only 15 here. So there's not a lot.
This list that I updated with the description. The ones in green are the ones I checked.
Okay, but you're implying that over the last 6 months of value tracking that only 15 deliverables were reported.
Actually, those last Andrew and Vienna, they're new.
Okay, but still, either way, the 6 months of value tracking, only 15 deliverables were reported that entire 6 months.
Yeah, on that spreadsheet, only those.
Well, no, but where's the other spreadsheet? Where's the other value squared spreadsheet?
There's no another value square spreadsheet.
So again, what I said is that for the last 6 months of all the value tracking, the weekly value tracking and monthly value tracking we've done, there has only been 15 raw data. There would only be 15 deliverables that were reported.
Yeah, that's the only one we got.
Yeah. Okay. So just making sure we're on the same page.
Okay. Is that possible though?
Yes, it's possible. If people just don't report the deliverables, it's definitely possible. So the point is,
Yes.
that for people who have very, very few deliverables, you can just put them on here. We don't need to create a separate spreadsheet for them. You only need to create separate spreadsheets for people who have lots of them, like over 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, right? Like like us, like we have dozens and dozens of deliverables. So we're going to even have sub spreadsheets of deliverables. For example, of our meeting notes would be a sub deliverable spreadsheet, because it would be ridiculous to put so many meeting notes onto our deliverable sheet. Okay, anyways, I think we're done for now, but there's a lot of work here. It's unbelievable amounts of work that needs to get done, and it's just not happening. And all of our time should be going to this. Like, our time should not be going into weekly value tracking. Like, weekly value tracking should take like minutes a day, like 15 minutes max per day. Maybe a half an hour if there's a day where there's lots of people who are actively doing it, and there's a lot of information to update. But it shouldn't take that long to do the weekly value tracking. And we should be focusing on the real work, which is like all of the actual master ledger and like the data analysis and getting the value squared together.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing that we could do. Maybe this would be a good proposal.
What's that?
Is that if people fill out the weekly value tracking form, it cuts FQN work hours by a third, if not, a fifth, right? So it takes 5 times more work reminding people and asking people to fill out the form than them actually just filling it out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So maybe we should propose that we get paid, 5 times more if people don't fill out the form.
Yes, that's actually makes sense.
I gotta go to the men's room.
It's a lot of work, just be behind the people, asking them to fill out the forms.
Yeah, if they just filled it out, the work that we would have to do would be negligible. It's like the most of the work that revolves around weekly value tracking is people not filling out the freaking form. So I mean, and of course, if we don't do the reminders, no one's going to fill out the form ever, right? Which wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So like, anyways, we can see what they say about that, but that's the only way I can think of actually recouping the value of the work that we do, right? So if you guys basically want to be paid to putting a bunch of extra time in making sure that every single week of value tracking is done correctly, that's the only way I can think of doing it, is basically asking for more money. Because it's just too much time and money and effort going into something that is just not really that important in the bigger scheme of everything. And it just like, I mean, the reason why we did it first is because it was simple, and it was a minor part. So it's like, okay, let's educate and do training on the simple components so that then we can move up to the other more important levels. But for whatever reason, we just never got out of it. It's like it's just like we just focus on weekly value tracking as if it's the main thing, and it's like we never focus on value squared. We never focus on like the bigger picture of like getting the master ledgers all organized and finalized and all the things for the finance reports. So I mean, some of that's my fault too, you know, that I've been busy and we got totally sidetracked on all this like legal stuff, but we need to get back into it and get everything organized, because if we don't do it and we don't do it now, we're gonna get cut from that, at least that part of the budget, because we need something to show for it now. So we need to get all the value tracking stuff just totally organized. And I think that for me, and I don't know about Steve, but for me, my thought on it all is that, you know, it's like we need to recruit people. Like recruiting is the number one thing, because I don't actually think that the two of you can do it. I don't even think the four of us can do it. And it's like James, it's great that he's here, but he doesn't show up for America's Network buddy team sessions to do work. He's just here to like give input and like, you know, participate in the weekly session, which is perfectly fine, but it's like, it's not going to help get the work done. So we definitely need to figure out the recruitment stuff, which I think is our next topic, but I think we're ready to check out and just wrap up.
It's up to people. I mean, they want to stay and work, it could work. But if not, we can go. I mean,
well, I'm going to be here all afternoon. I mean, I'm going to take maybe a little break and then get back to work. So the next one is
that's me too. So.
And I can stay until the next hour, because then I have an appointment with the therapist, but then I can be back for the next hour.
I'll be on with today at 5. So
yeah,
that's
I mean,
fine.
I'm just going to be 1 hour with my therapist, but then I can be back for the Pacific session.
So do you guys want to wrap up and move on now, or do you guys want to do more payroll processes stuff? That's the next item.
I can, yeah. I think, I don't know if Jorge has time, but I can stay for payroll processes.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there is a lot we need to check, and we haven't been able to meet. So
cool. But before we go into that, the project and responsibilities are not done yet either. So I'm just going to do them. If anyone wants to help, you can. But document organizing would be a responsibility. And this is what you were supposed to do. Steve, you did it great for the tasks, but you didn't do the responsibilities and the projects. I think that's it too. I don't think there were a huge number of them, but if you want to do the projects, that'd be great. Or maybe someone else can help with the projects.
yeah, I can help with the projects.
Because it just didn't get done.
Okay, I want it.
I mean, there's not a lot of work. It just helps organize it so that it's like clear what we're talking about.
Yeah, give me this 1 second. I'm on it. Okay.
Cool. So, do you guys want to just quickly cover payroll processes real fast?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the good news about payroll processes is that as of yesterday, we're totally up to date on last month's payroll. What that means is we're only behind by 1 week, which is pretty negligible. Wait, what's going on here? Why is everything getting all messed up? What is going on?
I was doing the projects, but you are doing them.
All right, I don't know what happened with that. All right, cool. So I think there's still a couple other projects, and plus, what is Value Squared a project of? Is Value Squared its own project?
No, it's not there yet. No.
I don't know about Value Squared. Anyway, so now we're talking about payroll processes. And payroll processes is its own project. Payroll is a project. It also would go under finances, umbrella finances. So What's the question on payroll? So we're pretty much getting up to date. We're behind by like 1 week. You know, the policy is that everyone can choose whether they want to do weekly, twice a month, or monthly for their payroll. And they can choose whichever way they want to get paid. And we just get them paid as best as possible. The direction that I want to move forward is that basically I want to empower a sub-treasurer to basically start doing weekly payroll. And then from there, eventually we'll even go to quintant payrolls where different quintants could even potentially oversee their own payroll. So once they have their own budget, but yeah, I mean, what were the questions on the payroll? That's basically the update.
No, it was just if we have like a time schedule for payroll. For example, let's say you work on the first and second week of August. When is and you're getting paid like bi-weekly or monthly. So if you work monthly, let's suppose that you work for the whole month of August. When is the payroll has to be done for that person who works monthly,
So,
for example?
I mean, it should be immediate. So for like the weekly payroll, the week is from Sunday to Saturday, and then payroll should be on Sunday or even Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So the same week did you solve the $2,000 problem? Or the $200 problem, rather?
No, we still have problems with the debit cards, but there's a couple solutions that are coming to light that we're really close to being able to start selling in Ether and Bitcoin, so we should be fine. I'm not too worried about
That
it.
or we just need to, either that or we need to get an online bank account, one or the other.
Yeah, but anyways, that's another issue. We can discuss that, but overall, we need to get our money liquidity. Money liquidity will help, right, a little bit, and that'll make it go faster because we'll be able to not have to wait a couple days. But this is the process that we want to do. Is that basically payroll ends on a Saturday, and then you get paid either that Saturday or the following Monday. A lot of people don't work on Saturdays, so value tracking for their hours and their work is done on Friday, so you should be able to pay them on Saturday for the week. People who work on Saturday, it would make sense to pay them on Sunday, but the point is that it should all happen immediately. So for the monthly payroll, it would be the second Saturday of the month is the last day, and so then you get paid on Saturday or Sunday. And then, you know, if it is not prioritized, then people get paid ASAP or when it gets prioritized. So for example, for weekly payroll, if no one gives a shit about weekly payroll and no one prioritizes it, no one's gonna get paid. Does that make sense?
How can people prioritize that? Because we don't get paid weekly, but people who's getting paid weekly on a weekly basis, how do they prioritize that?
Well, for example, if today we wanted to prioritize payroll, we could cancel the whole meeting and do payroll instead. That would be one way to prioritize it. We could have put payroll at the top of the topics list and make it done first and make sure there's a clear plan of getting payroll accomplished. At every single buddy team, payroll could be the #1 priority and not do anything except for payroll until payroll is done. That's what prioritizing payroll means.
Okay.
So prioritizing payroll would be working on payroll instead of value tracking, for example.
Right, but we can only do payroll with you, right?
No, we can do the actual work, not the paying, but we can get it to where, like we did the other day, where we went in and we double checked and we fixed that sheet that was wrong. All that has to get done before Jay can actually sign it, transfer money and pay anybody.
The actual transferring of the money is probably like 1/10, if not 1/20th of the time.
It's 1 second.
Yeah, that just takes a second. The question is, how much do I pay each person, and verifying that it's the correct amount and that it's been tracked correctly and that, you know, subtracting and adding up all the different things, whether they've been prepaid or their advances, and like, I mean, there's all these calculations that have to be done, and then there's all of the finance tracking and the actual real-time accounting. Yeah, so it's a lot of, but the actual transfer of the money is very minor. It's not a lot of work. The only problem with the transfer of the money is when we are constrained on how much money we can spend at one time.
All right.
And that's very, very soon not going to be a problem. So if you guys want to go over the actual spending of the money, I can do that really fast, because it would be good to go over it. But do we address everything else with payroll? Like,
I think that's it.
I didn't have any questions to begin with.
so for example, let's just think about Jorge for a second here. I don't actually have it up here, but we can just estimate real quick. So August 12th was the day that we finished the month. So that's the second Saturday of the month, right? So the question would be, when did Jorge get paid? Do you remember when you got paid, Jorge? Or can we estimate it?
Yeah, it was Friday last week.
Last Friday.
So it'd be the 18th. So it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days to pay Jorge. Primarily because we probably paid Nelly and other people, you know, a couple days there. We skipped a couple days because of vacation and everything. But basically, you were paid within 5 days of the time, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, actually, I got paid for the 3 weeks, so which was good because otherwise I will be just receiving 2 weeks and I will be another week behind in that case. But yeah, I got 3 weeks payment, so that was okay.
But I think what
Yeah,
you're
me too.
confused on is that it was a 3-week month, right? So it was a 5-week month. So if we go into the actual payroll here, let's actually open it up. So I have here payroll. So for July-August month, it was a 5-week month. So week 1 was July 9th to 15th. Week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5 was August 6th to August 12th. So once every quarter, there's always a 5-week month. If you do the if the second Saturday of the month is the end of the month. Once we shift to our moon cycle, where everyone's going to be paid in alignment with the moon, and our entire calendar is going to be based on the lunar calendar, there will be basically 13 months a year, but each month will always be 4 weeks, and there'll never be a 5-week month. But with our current pay system, we have to have 5-week months every once in a while because it just doesn't line up. The Gregorian calendar is a disaster, right? So that's why you were paid for 3 weeks, right? So Jorge was paid for week 1 and week 2 already for midweek because you do twice a month pay, and then you were paid for the second 3 weeks within less than a week.
You gotta go to the Jewish calendar, which is the moon calendar.
Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch to the Selenian calendar, which is our lunar calendar. Okay, we're gonna do that, but we're not prioritizing that because it's just not. You know, we can pay people with this until we get our client under control and we deal with all the craziness and we get stabilized. There's no need to go to all the effort to switch to the Selenian calendar. But we will. Okay, so but does that help answer your question about why you guys got paid for 3 weeks?
No,
I think
because
that
it was
was clear.
a 5-week month. Okay.
Yeah, because it was a 5-week month. So for example, Lucy, Albina, Thomas, they got paid because they're monthly. They got all paid for 5 weeks all at once.
Okay.
And we got everybody done for the entire payroll except for Asif, which he owes us money. Jocelyn, she basically didn't want the $20 because of all the fees, and it was just like she wanted to get paid more anyways. And Anacleta, I mean, we need to talk about Anacleta, but it's like it's ridiculous to send her $8 and pay $10 for the cost of the fees, right? So it wouldn't make any sense. So should I spend 2 minutes really quickly going over the money liquidity stuff and like how we're going to solve that and get all the money? Because I'm kind of excited about it. So basically speaking, the debit cards are just not working yet. Not working, which is sad. With Coinbase, we're gonna open new Coinbase accounts, and we're gonna get so these are other debit cards, and we're gonna get like 1 to 2 additional like shift cards, which is what we currently have. These will be under different businesses. So we're gonna have to do some, when we do our finances, we'll have to do like some sub transactions between different businesses for these new cards. But it will give us a little bit more liquidity. Then the last thing is we, because of Zilu, with Zilu as well as Cifrazu, they get paid through Pesa. Pesa is not like PayPal. Well, actually, it's kind of like PayPal, except it allows full integration with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other other cyber currencies, right? So I mean, I could even check.
Is Pesa worldwide?
Yes, Pesa's global.
Okay.
Pesa's
not
global. It's kind of like PayPal. It's global. Yeah. So if I go to Wells Fargo real quick, Wells Fargo.
Do we need to get Pesa?
No, that's just how Zilu and Cifrazu get paid with Pesa. So anyways, I'm going to quickly sign on to Wells Fargo here and check out our accounts. And if we go to Innovate United, so VZ Enterprise, this is Vienna and Zachary's account, has ungodly amounts of money in it that we don't have access to. It's not our money.
Yeah, we did their taxes. We know about that.
We do their taxes, yes. We know all about their ridiculous amounts of money. So I tried to transfer money from Pesa to the bank account, but it's just not. I'm just not seeing it still. $100. It should be $150. So it's still pending. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with that. So if we go to Innovate United, and we look at Pesa, bank transfer withdrawal completed. Your withdrawal transaction was completed. Bank transfer $150 to Wells Fargo Innovate United. Account number ending in 53.
It's the same problem with PayPal. When you transfer from PayPal to the bank tends to PayPal sends it immediately, but the bank tends to take a day or two to get the transaction done.
All right. Well, let's see the date on this.
Money for a day to legally get away with it.
It says this was yesterday, so comes up like tomorrow, the next day. But basically, I haven't been able to actually verify that it's going to work yet. And in my workings with Pesa, I've had at least 5 or 10 other transactions that were canceled by the bank. So I'm not actually 100% sure it's going to work because basically the bank refused to allow interactions with Pesa multiple other times. So if it works, it means that we can sell, thousands of dollars of Ether or Bitcoin and then transfer them to the bank. And then for the first time ever, we would actually have money in the bank, right? Because right now, all of our money is all in Bitcoin and Ether. We don't have any money in the bank, right? We have no US dollars. So if we can start transferring money to the bank, it would solve all of our problems for Western Union because we would have unlimited Western Union transfers. So anyways, we're really close. We're really close to getting that done. Hopefully it could be solved within a day or two because as soon as we get the Pesa stuff done and then we actually can start transferring from Ether to Pesa to Wells Fargo, US dollars, and then Chase, that will be good to go. So then we can just start transferring money between all these entities, and then we can easily have Western Union done and dealt with Western, because we'll already have the US dollars. Okay, so we're really close to getting all of that set up in multiple different ways. There's 3 different options. Any one of them will be done fine. This is there's at least 2 or 3 that I'm trying to get working. If we get one of them working, we'll be in business we'll have multiple debit cards. If that doesn't work, we're going to be opening multiple Coinbase accounts under different business names, and then the other ones pays up. So that's the update on our liquidity issues. But overall, I think we're still in pretty good shape. See here that it was $2,000 of payroll for just the second week, right? So it was obviously payroll for the whole month was, you know, possibly as much as double that. That also doesn't include my pay, because my pay is in Bitcoin and Ether. Yeah. But I don't track here which ones were on Western Union, but it's a significant amount. It's probably as much as $1,000 on Western Union, and we can only do $200 a day, which is why it takes like a week or two to get the Western Union done. But overall, we're in really good shape with the payroll. We're more or less on track.
All right.
Yeah, and
I think it was on the last spreadsheet we were working on when we were recording all the transactions that were done through Western Union or Paisa or the other different accounts.
Yeah.
The one which is done in real time.
Yeah, but that doesn't have everything, but it has some of it there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, you know, I mean, if we skip week 1 and we just do week 2, week 1 and 2, then this Saturday we could do the next round of payroll for the twice a month payroll, and then we'll be on track. You know, so anytime we don't prioritize the payroll, we don't get it done, and we can fall behind, you know, we can basically skip a week and just force everybody to do twice a month, and then we just do it twice a month, and then we can move on to the next. We don't have to do weekly payroll if we're behind. And I'm also paying an advance to Lucy and Julie. They're getting a $300 advance. And Julie just had, this is Julie and Benji. Julie just had her baby, like 2 days ago.
Yes, Julie had a baby boy, and he's healthy. I was talking with Benji this morning.
Yeah, so they asked for extra money. It went to both the new moon and the quarter moon, and it was approved, their advance. So that's that. All right, so I think we're done. Shall we wrap?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so
20 minutes for dinner.
I know, it's just craziness. I might be a little late because I need to talk to this guy, Christian. Oh, look, I got a voice.
Oh, somebody wants to talk to you?
Yeah, this is Jeanette from one of our sponsored projects. All right, so I guess I'll check out. I thought this was a good session. You know, we accomplished a lot. I mean, we got kind of sidetracked with some of the value tracking and other things, but I think overall it was important to all of that because obviously there's been a lot of problems. We also need to continue to prioritize that in the buddy teams next week and make sure that we're getting everything ready for our transition with the value tracking. But yeah, I think that we're good. That there's so many additional really exciting things I want to talk to you guys about. So with the next steps of, where is it? Like all the bus stuff. Oh my God, the umbrella business is just like huge. All the positions, other type of work system. Like we have this, like things are going to be changing, and this is where it changes with bus and the new positions, and you know, recalibrating like how we organize all of the different work that's getting done. Yeah, and in FQ and value tracking, we have to redo all of our value tracking. I'm really excited about it all. It's going to be lots of fun, and I think that.
What we didn't go into today, and we should have, is the value tracking for this session. Okay.
What about the value tracking for this session? That happens afterwards. Or we can.
No. The stuff that we talked about yesterday, that we didn't talk to the session points, that is team points, that is individual, you know.
Well, this one's really simple because for today we just started. It's just the Andromeda team. That's all it is. So it's just Andromeda team session credits, so that when we do the value tracking, everyone gets Andromeda team session credits and general session credits.
All right.
Yeah. And that happens just with the regular value tracking, which we're probably not going to do today because we're all pooped out. We've gone almost 3 hours and we need to stop. So, anyways, Steve, you want to?
Yeah, well, we have to do yesterday's later. Remember, we didn't do it yesterday.
Yeah, well, but we still did what's called real-time value tracking, where we know all the information, we just didn't organize it and finalize it. Does that make sense? So we still did the real-time value tracking, we just didn't actually document the value. Which is actually a separate process. All right. Steve, do you want to check out?
Yeah, I think this was a really good meeting. I think we've had 2 really good meetings in a row, actually, yesterday and today. Possibly because this team in general, the Americas, people in the Americas, you know, both this team and the Pacific and the Atlantic, we haven't had meetings in a little while, so we've got a little behind. But I honestly feel that small meetings like this, especially, are better sometimes. Sometimes when there's 8 or 9 or 10 people, it's actually hard to, get as much accomplished or to, get as many questions answered. So I think this meeting was great. I don't know what happened to James. I hope he's okay. And I think we get a lot of work done, and we're going to keep getting a lot of work done, and it's great. Very happy with today. Jorge, would you like to go next?
Sure. I totally agree with you, Steve. The more questions we have, the more clear we are on everything we need to know about this. And I feel like we fill in some gaps that we had. I'll be me. Check.
Ellie?
Steve?
Oh, look, it's James.
I can go ahead and check out. Today the session was good, and I was introduced to new words that I've never heard before, and I had to be silent for like a long time for me to be able to listen and digest every information. But it is good to always hear that the team is moving toward the goals that we have, and it's exciting. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the other days to come. And thankful. That's my check.
Nelly?
Hi. Well, I'm glad we could get some things clear.
That's what
I'm sorry about the whole Lopez
Then I give you
situation,
3.
but I'm glad always that we can get a lot of topics cleared. That's it. Check.
Oh, I think that's it. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Okay, Jay, you want to say 6, 7, 5:30, 5:15? What do you want to do? Are you going to come back?
Oh, yeah. Well, I might need to talk with Christian. Let's just plan on like an hour late.
5:40. Yeah, I need to
I'll be
talk
back
to an
at
exec.
6.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
make it 5:45 because I need to talk to you for a couple of minutes on some other stuff. Okay.
Cool. All right. Ciao.
See you in an hour. Goodbye.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
I think we got some stuff accomplished today. All right.
For sure.
I think so.
Yeah. We definitely did.